This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. It's hard to believe Thanksgiving just a couple of weeks away, not even. Of course, holiday season ramps up right after that. And we've got something for you. A wonderful book that you might want to consider for you, your family, your children. And this comes courtesy of a professional storyteller. I knew they existed. I didn't know the depth of it until I met her. She runs very deep, but she has a spin on it. She has an affinity for historical storytelling, and she's also an author. We're going to look at one of her holiday books today. She is Carolyn Marshall Stearns back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you.
So we've looked at some of your other books involving spooky stories, great for Halloween, which just passed. We've looked at other books that even have a historical connection. And today we're looking, is this Christmas Letters?
This is Christmas Letters.
Gotcha.
And it's a farm story, write what you know. And it's not my farm. It's a conglomeration of so many farms across our country and the families that work those farms. And it's about a young woman whose husband is serving in 2017 in Afghanistan. And she's prowling around the attic of the farmhouse where she's living and finds 100-year-old box of letters. And
wow.
So it's parallel lives in the same farmhouse 100 years apart. And
I have chills. That's such a cool concept.
And when you read the foreword by Rob Simmons, who was our representative in Congress, I asked him, he was on the U.S. military committee. I know Rob, he also lives on a farm. And I asked him to write the foreword for the book. And I told him the premise, and he's like, oh my God, my wife and I were cleaning out a family home and we just found a suitcase full of old letters.
Now, the woman in the story that finds the letters, her husband?
Her husband is serving.
He's serving.
Current time.
And in those letters, is there stories or details of somebody serving as well back then?
Well, she is sharing some of the info from the letters with his family, but also with him when they can connect. And of course, in 2017, there was email and phone calls, which in 1917, there was only letters. And a lot of them got sunk crossing the ocean. And it could take weeks for news to come.
Sure.
So there was this long, desperate periods when families had no connect to their loved one. And she really learns to be patient through that.
Is there any, is this lie with any truth of stories that you've heard?
A little bit from my husband's grandmother, knowing about the missing older brother that was serving in World War I. A little, I love old letters. I've read many collections of them. One collection, a Civil War set, another, my grandfather's letters home from World War I to his son, and many other letters. Any chance I get to find a book that's based on letters, I do like reading that. I like reading old military records. So I just took all those things and then the emotions, and they just come out. So I have many letters in here, plus the current day are emailing, and so you're getting a storyline interspersed with these bits of information from long ago.
I love the farm connection. That's your affinity. And many of us have found things like that in the attic. Certainly, when my mom passed 6 years ago, I found some stuff from my dad, who had passed when I was 21. And it's just kind of interesting and cool, to see that stuff that's been almost like a time capsule placed in an
Right.
attic. Um, but it gives you clues to your past and for the woman in the story, connections there. Are we reading today? Are we going to hear some of
We
this?
could read a little bit of letters, because I think it gives you an idea of how I can create realism in a letter,
Mm, mm,
even though it's fiction.
right. It doesn't feel like fiction. That's why I asked before if it's based on something that's true because it just seems real. Maybe it's because I know that you're on a farm. And as soon as you said she's there, he's away, she went into the attic, I feel like I'm there. Like I see the visual of what that might have been like.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So December 13th, 1917. Dear James, it's snowing again. I think it will be one of those winters where it just keeps piling up and never has a chance to get dirty and gray or wash away in rain. Not to worry. I know my elves will show up and shovel out the barn and the kitchen path to the hen house for me. The kids down the road made the biggest snowman I've ever seen. I don't know how they got the third ball on top, as it's over 10 feet tall. They have a piece of stovepipe for a hat and a couple of big bolts and nuts and washers for eyes. The mouth is some other tool. It's hard to tell since it's embedded in the snowy face. I walked down to take a closer look when the snow was falling lightly. I need to walk more. I feel like I've been hibernating, and I know I need to keep my strength. Our baby is getting stronger. I feel him or her marching to and fro within me. The minute I settle down to sleep or rest, the baby decides it's time to get up and go. I just smile. It's a sign of good health to have an active baby. My mom said I was very active, and I've never stopped moving since. That must be why I feel so cooped up. It's not my nature. Clarabelle calved last night at dinner time. She had a nice heifer calf. I hope she can withstand this cold and survive. She looks like her mom, but has the red coat like her grandma had. I hope she will be a good milker for you. I've already had a halter on her and walked her down the barn aisle with her mama looking on. I need all these girls to be friendly if I'm to manage them. I decided I had to start one day, on day one, while I'm stronger than them. I hope you don't mind that I named her. I kept the family tradition of starting with the letter C for that family lineage, so she is Charity. I thought it fitting as we prepare food baskets for some of the needy families in the area. I was able to sell the big steer to the meat market and got a good price. Your dad said I should ask again. He never got a price so good. Beef is scarce. So much is being shipped out to you boys overseas. I just figured the price would be good when families are cooking for company and the wealthy are dining fancy in honor of the holidays. I still have the three smaller steers. They look grown out, just aren't as big and tall as that one was. I thought I might try to sell one just before New Year. I'll use the money earned from the three for a part of the taxes as we discussed. I'll have to go now. I'm going to the library with my mother for some books, and we'll drop this in the post office while in town. It may make it go faster to you. Loving you, Anna.
Wow. Mm. I feel like I'm there. Again, like the visual of her writing it. Does she, well, in the book, do you have letters coming from her husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to
Hmm.
hear a reply? Well, how's our time for that?
Oh, we have plenty of time. And I want to ask you, even before we dive back in, we're talking early 1900s. Do you watch movies and shows around that period? Have you?
Yeah. And anything historical will call attention to me. And I
Hmm.
like going to farm museums with period equipment and exhibitions like at country fairs when they have the old time equipment out.
Yep, yep.
So,
Hmm.
I do know the lifestyle, and because our family has been on the same farm for many, many generations, I understand that longevity, the stuff staying in place. Uh, Unfortunately, a lot of the old equipment isn't in our barn because there were two serious barn fires here, 1929 and 59, that they
Wow.
lost everything. So, um, but I do know how that happens. There is, one old barn that there used to be a bit of horse harness in from the horses that work the fields.
There's there's a couple of shows they're connected as well. 1923. Have you seen that show?
No, I haven't watched that series.
Yeah, I would say it's worth it based on what we're talking about and the show before. I think it's 1883. I'm trying to remember the exact year of name of show. Um, I actually like that one better than 1923. Again, they're connected and then they're broadly connected to Yellowstone series. Um, but the one from the late 1800s, very gritty and very like intentionally lack of vivid colors to give you that kind of feel for that time. 1923 is a little more robust and a little more upbeat, but there's definitely stuff that takes place there too. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious that you know you gravitate toward that kind of stuff.
I certainly do.
Mm.
My daughter warned me off of Yellowstone because of the opening scenes with a horse's death, because she knows um, how close I am to horses.
So I'm going to back that up. Full disclosure, I started watching the series one or two, barely even two, and I stopped watching it. So I have not even seen Yellowstone, but I gravitated over to these shows, and I thought they were interesting. Maybe I'll circle back on Yellowstone. And some say that after a couple of seasons, it was just getting kind of dry and just didn't have the same pop. But I know what you're talking about with the horses. And in the past year, I've had this amazing affinity for horses. I did a, whether you believe this, past life regression, and horses were there. I was connected to horses even in real life when I was away. Horses are calling me, and there's something there. Their intelligence, their connection. The rest of us, until you feel that connection, Carolyn, we look at them as just workhorses. That's what they're way more than that.
They
Way more
sure
than that.
are. They
Yeah.
have huge hearts and such wisdom, and they will never forget if you don't treat them right.
Mm. Yep.
You may still get them to work for you, but they will not forget.
Yep.
But if they love you, it's with their entire being.
I'm going to share I know we're pivoting for a moment, but real briefly, I was away. It was another country. I just went away by myself for just 4 days in the Caribbean, super cheap. And there was a horse in a field next to me, and horrible. It was just tied up in the heat every single day. I'm like, what is going on here? I don't know who did it. It was a horse that wasn't needed at the moment. I would go over there. I would feed it. I had some lettuce. I would give it little treats here and there. You know, I carried buckets of water. One point, I had to free it up because it couldn't even move from the rope. And I looked in its eyes, and I will never forget that connection. And I'm sure you felt that long ago, and still do on a regular basis.
I've had a horse since I was 9 years old.
Mm,
Always
yep.
had them in my life, and so fortunate. I might mumble a bit about it on a -20 morning, smashing frozen buckets, but
I got you.
there's no place I'd rather be than home with my animals.
Yeah, they say dog is man's best friend. Also insert horse there too.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. All right, back to the letters.
So this one's a little further down the book, and this is a response back to Anna at the farm. December 24th, 1917. Dear Anna, tomorrow is Christmas. Today, a lot of wounded were brought to us, and we were hustling for hours. It's now very late. Out in the night, I can hear someone playing Silent Night on that piano. On my way back to the quarters, I stopped by the shed with a couple of carrots for the new mother and said hello to little Christmas, which is a mule he'd seen born. Now that she is dry, she is white as snow and fluffy. She was born with a thick coat, but Alfred, the caretaker, was fitting her for a little blanket. It appears to be made from one of his own coats. He was grateful to see the little mare get a treat. He told me her name is Snowball. I snagged the carrots from the cook and said the general wouldn't miss a couple of vegetables in his stew and that a patient of Dr. Jensen's really needed them. He grinned, and it didn't take long for the whole place to hear of our little Christmas miracle in the stable. Alfred told me even the general had stopped by to look. He didn't say anything, but a bit later, some men dropped off a bag of oats that was destined for horses in one of the units traveling through. It was a small bag, but will help her get her milk going so the little one gets a good feed for a while. I saw Alfred today out by the tents, picking up clumps of brownish grass anywhere he saw them and putting them in his basket. He said this is how he has fed her and kept her hidden all these months. Now the countryside is just about stripped clean. It will be a long time until spring. I don't know how he will keep them fed. He said he could never face the sweet child again if anything were to happen to her pony. She begged him to promise he would care for it as they evacuated. His craggy face wrinkled up and tried to hide a tear when he spoke of her. I have taken down Alfred's address so I can write if I get moved along. If I find anything to feed the little thing, I will be sharing it. She makes me think of home, the barn, the cows, and the calves. Doc Jensen is from Boston. He grew up in the city and didn't know why he was sent to see the problem when Alfred had asked a soldier for help with a birth. It was sure not what Doc was expecting. He came by this evening too, and we talked as we walked back together. He said he didn't notice earlier on that day that I had a limp. He would have slowed for me. No matter, we were en route to someone that needed help. He said he can look at my leg again tomorrow and see what can be done. We talked about the farm a bit and our small town. He said when the war is over, he's planning to move to a small town and to get away from the hustle of the city, the competition for big houses and fancy things instead of caring more about people. Now that he has seen all of this, he knows he won't go back. I told him our doctor is older and he should write to him. I gave him Dr. Drew's address. He would be a good guy with a ton of experience to have as a doctor in town. Don't say anything to anyone. Let them write and decide. I was really butting in. Maybe Dr. Drew doesn't need a younger partner or plan to slow down a bit. I hope he isn't mad at me for suggesting it. Christmas Eve. I wish I could give you a kiss. Next year, our child will have their first stocking by the chimney. Next year, this time, we will be parents. That seems like such an odd thing to say. I think you will be a great mother. I worry about being a good dad. How do we make all those decisions and take care of everything? How do we protect little ones with all they get into? I think my fear and worry comes from what a Dickens I was as a kid. I got into a whole lot of mischief. I hope you enjoyed singing in church tonight. I sat quietly and wished I could hear you. I did hear some men singing here and there around the camp. Tomorrow morning, I will open the box you sent. It came today, and I decided to wait and make it my Christmas morning. The timing was perfect. We already got some chocolate and some extra rations. I'm so tired. My hand is beginning to shake. Merry Christmas. I miss you. I hope we are never apart on Christmas ever again. James.
Ouch. Wow.
Really hard to imagine being in those positions. And I think the book helps us appreciate all those who serve our country now and before and in the future.
And also to be grateful for what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting. Those are letters from the early 1900s, but just what's being said in those letters about, people looking at, shiny objects and all that kind of stuff, where he's just trying to be grounded, that's not what's important. Kind of the same thing here. Have you looked at letters? Have you ever gotten a chance to look at letters maybe like that in, actual letters?
Yes, I have my grandfather's letters and a great uncle on my husband's side's letters home, a collection of 82 of them from the Civil War.
Wow.
And including a telegram to his sister, who was living in the city and not at home, and announcing the death of the brother that he was serving with, that he was killed instantly. Go home, it said.
Looking at those letters, the real ones, could they have been written today?
Yeah, easily. Ask any soldier who served our nation in Iraq or Afghanistan, or even if they were just stationed, in a more safe place like Germany or England. Ask any soldier that's on a base and his family is far away, and any family whose soldier is far. And it's there.
And the painful part of that letter for me is that aside from the emotion, the distance, he's writing it, a day before Christmas or so. His wife's not going to see that letter,
Till almost Valentine's.
right? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a real time warp that they live through, that nobody today has to experience. It may be a day or two or a few days, and that's evidenced in the current time letters and emails, that there's a couple days that they just don't have access to email. They're moving camp or whatever, and she's waiting 2 days, not weeks upon weeks.
Yeah, 2 months, right? And do you love looking at those letters because of even the historic? It could be even a family member, but it's historic. You're seeing it or reading it from a period long ago, and kind of getting in their head of what life was like then. I don't think that ever gets old. I don't think
No,
it ever.
I love finding primary resources for research and being able to look at pictures of World War One and where they were stationed, and real photos of that time really help inform how they were living, and knowing the distresses that they suffered and endured, and all in valor for defending people and nations. But yeah, doing that primary research is essential to getting a message out in a book with a realism.
Mm. This book, Christmas Letters,
Yep.
it's available on Amazon. What a great
Right.
book for the holidays. Um, how do we find it? Just search your name.
You can search my name. There is another author with the same name, so look for Christmas Letters and my name, Carolyn Stearns, and I'm sure it'll pop up.
You've shared a lot of stuff with us in terms of storytelling, in terms of other books, spooky stories, and such. All fantastic. And what an eye opener to your craft and how you can put stories together and have historical references. But hearing this book, I feel like I'm watching a movie and I'm stuck on it, like riveted to it. Like I want to read the next one. Like it's a
Well,
weird
that's a
feeling.
good thing.
Yeah, because it takes you back, and it's great to have, a book or watch something on TV that takes you back to that period, so you can kind of feel like you're there. But seeing these letters, you're there, but it's so personal. It's almost as if like, we found a treasure and we're just reading into somebody's life, and it's a very different vibe going on there. Truly appreciate it. What's your website, by the way?
Carolyn Stearns, Storyteller.com.
As always, thank you for sharing today. Wonderful having you on, and looking forward next time we get together.
All right. Thank you. You have a good
Appreciate
day
it.
and a good Thanksgiving.
You too. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.